Hi everyone, and welcome to the beautiful Wolf Garden showroom here in Chicago. We're here to talk about an amazing suite of new products that address both human well-being and ecological well-being. Just some fantastic solutions, and here to talk to me about it is Chief Creative Officer at Wolf Garden, Marybeth Shaw. Marybeth, thank you so much for joining me here today.
It's my pleasure, Avi.
You guys have just brought out this amazing suite of new solutions for architects and designers to help them make a positive impact on both people and on planet. And you know, in categories where it has been historically very challenging to do that.
Extremely, yes. Wall covering especially.
Wall covering especially.
We've been very, very busy before the pandemic and throughout the pandemic, and we've really made it a priority at Wolf Garden to focus on more sustainable product development.
So we're going to be talking about three categories of products that you have solutions for. We have wall covering, we have wall protection, and we have upholstery. So kick us off, Marybeth. Tell us about the wall covering.
All right. Well, we're extremely proud of Claire. This is a new wall covering collection that is type 2. It's PVC free and it's bleach cleanable.
What a perfect solution for the time we're in. You know, here's a product that sits at the intersection of the climate crisis and our health crisis because it is PVC free and bleach cleanable. You know,
yes.
So to have that performance with this chemistry, with the olefin chemistry, is amazing. It is a real breakthrough, an amazing step in the right direction.
We're very pleased to be the first ones out with it, and we're definitely committed to expansion of Claire.
That's amazing, amazing. I hope to see Claire in lots of projects going forward. Tell us about the wall protection solution.
Yes, well, you may be familiar with our very popular Rampart wall protection. Rampart has been a fast-growing category for us because it meets all of the rigid requirements of impact resistance, and it's also beautifully printed and embossed. Now, what we're really excited about today is that we're introducing Rampart Resolve. Rampart Resolve is also PVC free. It's also resistant to all kinds of quaternary disinfectants. They can be used on it. Bleach cleanable, you name it, it is a great product, and it's got a special coating that makes it even more stain resistant. So this is a super high performing PVC free product in wall protection.
That's incredible to have finally a PVC free solution in this space. I mean, think about hospitals, think about hotels, think about all the places where hundreds of people use the space, and you sometimes can't find a sustainable solution because it has to stand up to this kind of rigor, and that's incredible. Rampart Resolve, that's a winner. That's amazing.
Definitely. So currently we have 4 patterns in Rampart Resolve, and again, a commitment on Wolf Garden's part to continue to introduce PVC-free wall protection.
Amazing. So I know that with Rampart Resolve, you also now have a way to retrofit spaces with it, which is also a sustainable solution. Do you want to talk a little about that? I have a little sample here.
Thank you. Yeah, we are all about solutions. And this product, which is called Stronghold Wall Liner, is really wonderful. When there's a situation with a rough wall, it could be CMUs, it could be tile, you can put this wonderful jute and plaster of Paris product down over the rough wall surface, and then you can put Rampart Resolve on top, and you have a completely PVC-free, sustainable solution. No furring out of the wall is required. All of the extra labor and materials are eliminated, and it's more cost-effective. So this is really an outstanding solution for our industry in renovation.
That's amazing. What an amazing way to just update spaces, because you know, normally if you were doing that, you would have to fur out the wall, and then what happens to all that wall material you're taking out?
The dump.
The dump, you know, and so now here's a way for us to update spaces with the performance that's possible now with a PVC-free solution.
Exactly.
And using sustainable materials again with plaster and jute. That's amazing.
Right, right. You get it.
Okay, Marybeth, you got us covered on walls. Shall we go talk about upholstery?
It's one of my favorites.
Okay, let's go. So Maribeth, tell us about the first upholstery collection. There's a new one out, Sirona, right?
Yes, it's Sirona. It's a really remarkable high-performance story. We spent a year and a half developing this product with our partners Coats Group, an international yarn company, and Geosheared Fabrics, a Canadian mill. Sirona is our industry's first inherently antimicrobial fabric. What that means is it is not a topical antimicrobial that has all kinds of toxic chemicals in it. With Sirona, the antimicrobial copper and silver salts are embedded in the yarn. So they cannot wash out, they can't go into the water system, they can't affect human health. They're inert anyway, so they wouldn't do any damage. But it's inherently antimicrobial, so it's completely safe. It's also 88% recycled post-consumer material. And this is really, really important that we keep recycling and we work on the life cycle of the product. We have 13 colorways. I think it's a beautiful fabric as well with a great hand, and it can go into any vertical market where health and wellness is a priority.
I think it's a great example of how, you can, by making the right product choice, you can actually hit your goals on both, addressing the climate crisis and in terms of safeguarding people's health and well-being, right? So it's not always a trade-off. You have to find the solutions that can do both. Before we end today, I want us to talk about one more upholstery product, and this is one of my favorites from Wolf Garden. It's your cork upholstery, and I think we have one right here. Tell us about cork.
Well, cork is a rapidly renewable resource. It's an amazing story. The cork bark is cut from trees, and it can be cut every 9 to 14 years, and the bark grows back. It's beautiful material. Every single piece of cork is unique. It is one of our best-selling natural products. We offer it not only as an upholstery textile, as illustrated here, but also as a wall covering. It has acoustical properties, it has insulating properties, temperature-wise, so it really hits all the right notes. And absolutely full life cycle, biodegradable, gorgeous product.
It's amazing. I think what's incredible is that there's a solution almost for every level of performance, both in terms of how a space performs, but also how it performs for human health and also for ecosystem health, right? So you have an extremely durable, PVC-free Type 2 vinyl wall covering, as well as a wall protection solution, optimized for adaptive reuse, which is something we've been advocating for at Metropolis. We need more of that. And then upholstery solutions that support health and well-being and also are made of rapidly renewable resources.
I'll say one more thing. They're super durable. They exceed 100,000 double rubs on the Weizenbeek. These are commercial grade products, and they're great for all of our vertical markets.
So if anybody tells you that it's not possible to achieve commercial grade performance with sustainable product, you've proved them wrong. Thank you so much, Maribeth. This is amazing. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for what you do for our industry and for the planet. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you. For nearly 30 years, Rocket Mountain Hardware has been creating handcrafted bronze hardware and accessories right in the heart of Idaho. This family-owned business connects old world techniques with modern precision in the production of their designs, which transcend the ordinary into the extraordinary. From classic to modern to minimalist, each of their collections reflect a timeless style and enduring beauty, and all are sustainably made in order to protect the very splendor of the landscape around them. With me today to discuss the brand and their latest collaboration with a very celebrated New York design firm are Christian Nickham, president of Rocky Mountain Hardware, and Lawrence Chabra and Thomas Day of Robert A.M. Stern Architects. Welcome, everybody.
Thank you, Helene. Good to be here today, and appreciate the opportunity to explain who we are and what we do here at Rocky Mountain Hardware.
Well, with that, Christian, that was a very good segue because, I would love to start with you and get a little history behind the brand. So I know that your parents founded the company back in 1994 when they really saw a real demand for custom hardware. So can you go into a little bit more detail about the founding of Rocky Mountain Hardware and how it's really developed over the last 30 years?
Certainly. Yeah. We live here in the heart of Idaho, as you had mentioned, in a ski resort area called Sun Valley, Idaho. And my folks back in the day used to run a window and door shop. So we would build, custom windows, custom doors, tailoring to this particular area, as well as Jackson Hole, Wyoming. It's pretty close proximity to where we are. So via that, had a lot of influential people involved in a lot of those projects, and we got the opportunity to work with many people. So along the way, my dad had a particular friend that was an architect in town that came to him one day and said, "Gosh, Mark, we just do not have any beautiful hardware to add to these doors that you guys produce," and that's kind of really where the brand was born. And light bulb went off in his head. My dad had a friend with a little art studio down the road, and that's kind of, he collaborated with him, cast a few door handles for this original project. And then, from that point forward, that was kind of the beginning,
Something that we touched on, and I know it's very near to you, is obviously the fact that you are a company that is based in Idaho, and, you are surrounded by some of the most beautiful landscape. But what is the brand's relationship to the environment around you, and how does this really impact sort of your manufacturing process?
Well, yeah, growing up in this beautiful landscape, we've really learned to appreciate our surroundings and how special they really are, because during everybody's travels, we look and see what's happening to the world, so to speak, because of big industry, this, that, and the other. So it's a really touchy point for us. And so what we have done is, we've looked at all of our manufacturing processes and made them as green as possible, so to speak, all the way beginning from the moment we do our castings, the material we use being 100% recycled bronze, and our packaging materials, and so on and so forth. And then in addition to that, we allow our team members, to really kind of tailor a lot of their schedules to be able to enjoy the area. So a lot of our crew works 4-10s, and so they've got a 3-day weekend to go enjoy the area. So
moving on, designers always speak about sort of their materiality when specifying their products. I'm sure Lawrence and Thomas can get into this. And I know for Rocky Mountain Hardware, it's really always been centered on bronze. That is, your go-to. But what are some of the benefits? First of all, why bronze? And really, what are some of the benefits of crafting your designs in this noble material?
Gosh, primarily, bronze has been around for forever, and it's a tried and true material, and it creates its own very unique and beautiful patinas with time. And so that's kind of the mainstay, I would say. And we cast in a few different types of bronzes. One that's a silicon bronze, which is more the typical goldish brown bronze that everybody might think of when they think of bronze, and then another alloy which is called white bronze. And it has some other elements in it that makes it more of a white metal, so more similar to, say, stainless steel or what have you. So, and from those two alloys, we're able to patina to multiple different finishes to really capture the desire, of the designer, the homeowner, whomever it may be, to really pick a finish that they like to fit into their project. Bronze also has some other unique inherent attributes to it, which are antimicrobial properties. The bronze is also very, very warm and it just has a great feel to it. It's a very organic, natural product, which is a beautiful product.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And I like the fact that it has this natural, I mean, it's kind of funny, like now we talk about health and wellness all the time. Everyone seems to like hone in on things like antimicrobial and the fact that it's just an inherent property of something like bronze. But you really do, and I especially, I'm sure over the last 30 years have really come to understand the needs of the design community and really have grown a wide portfolio that really can accommodate pretty much most, if not all, project specifications, correct?
Yep, that is absolutely correct. And I think back to what I had said previously, a lot of that was born just with our opportunity as we spread our wings and continued to capture and go into other markets, working with great design professionals to design product to fit into specific projects. And again, those are arrayed from a vast variety of architectural styles. So,
mm-hmm. And as we all know, though, designers love to customize, and that's really in the DNA of the company to bring these like custom designs to life. I mean, that is why your parents really decided ultimately to found Rocky Mountain Hardware, correct?
That's exactly correct. Yep. Again, we've just got a can-do attitude, and we've carried the torch on that as my parents have been out of the business, and have really, hardly ever say no. We'll look at certain projects and whether it's door hardware, cabinet hardware, kitchen and bath accessories, and lighting, which we're kind of known for. Beyond that, we've done all sorts of other projects, from custom furniture, a lot of restoration work where we're actually matching old existing hardware that might be on a project from 100 years ago, and then researching those alloys that were used at that point in time and casting in those original alloys. So again, beyond bronze, we do a lot of other work.
Mm-hmm. Well, you obviously have a long tradition of partnering with designers on their custom work, but you also have come on as design collaborators for collections that are part of the Rocky Mountain brand. So can you walk us through some of those designers with whom you've partnered? And if you just so happen to have a few favorites that you are able to share.
You bet, yeah. We've had the opportunity to work with, and our very first design collaboration was with a gentleman named Roger Thomas. He was head of design for the wind properties. And so with Roger, and that was, again, really our first step into it. It was absolutely a wonderful experience. He really, took into consideration our manufacturing techniques, came out and visited, and was very hands-on and as we were walking through the product that he wanted to produce, to make sure that it really falls in line with our capabilities, number one, because it's, at the end of the day, that's really what it's about. It's, you got to tailor it to a specific company's capabilities. So that's been a fantastic opportunity for us. And then we worked with another gentleman named Ted Berner. He's a furniture designer, so did a very unique line of cabinet hardware and so on. And that was, again, fantastic experience. And then I've also worked with Kravitz Design. Lenny Kravitz has a design studio in New York as well. Did a very unique line for them. And I've also done with HOK Design. That one is more tailored specifically on the antimicrobial attributes of bronze alloys. So it was, that effort was really pushed more towards commercial work, such as hospitals and those sort of things, to try to help cut hospital-borne illnesses and infections and that sort of deal. So, and now here today, we're very excited to work with Ramza.
Yeah, and that is why we're here today. So you are launching a new collection, Oasis, with the design team from Robert M. Stern Architects. So why did you decide to partner with Ramza, and what do you feel they contributed to the overall portfolio? What may have already been missing?
the team from Ramza had given us kind of a design presentation on the specific products, and we knew right away, hey, boy, this is a must do. And as soon as you see the product, it's a very, very organic, modernistic line, which is totally different than some of the stuff we have. You know, it's very fluid and just beautiful, and the bronze really, really brings it to life.
Mhm. Well, Lawrence and Thomas, we obviously have not forgotten about you guys and want to like bring you into the conversation. So, you know, while this was your first time designing for Rocky Mountain Hardware, this was actually not your first introduction to the company. So how have you worked with or specified Rocky Mountain Hardware in the past?
So we've worked with them on a number of different projects. Probably the most recent one was a private residence that we were doing in Martha's Vineyard. And they had a lot of unique cabinet hardware that really suited our clients' taste and style. But we work on a wide range of projects and have worked with them to supply door handles over at the Yale New Residential Colleges, which we did a few years back. The colleges were dorms basically were being designed in the collegiate Gothic style. So while there was a sense of old world charm, there was also a need for a contemporary sort of sensibility and functionality. And some of the door handles that Rocky Mountain produced really fit that bill for us in terms of treading that line. So we've worked with them on large projects and small projects and just about everything in between. Mm-hmm.
Well, and with that, actually, can you just tell us a little bit more about Robert A.M. Stern Architects and really what the firm is well known for?
Certainly. I think what we're most well known for at the moment are high-rise multifamily buildings, buildings like 15 Central Park West and a lot of others that we have here in New York. But we do design those types of buildings all over the world. We design them in all over the country, in Latin America, in Asia. We also do a lot of institutional buildings, academic buildings, government buildings. And then also, as I mentioned before, we do a lot of private residences, whether they be homes or apartments for people. So we have a wide range of different project types and different studios within the firm where different architectural partners and the people underneath them sort of focus on each of those different architectural typologies.
Mm-hmm. And you know, the firm was really founded on single family residences, and that continues to be one of the staples here in the office. And I think you can see that in really all of our work, that we have that kind of fine-grained sensibility, that appreciation of the smaller scale, and naturally that leads us to other collaborations.
Yeah, I would also point out too that even in our institutional or government buildings, there's always this, it always feels more homey than you would think in that type of building because of this background. And there's a sensibility of really paying attention to the human scale and the humanity of the people that are in the buildings. So even when we're doing other types of projects that are not strictly residential, there's always part of that DNA that sort of flows through.
Mm-hmm. Well, that also leads me to the next, because, really thinking about human-centric design, and a lot of that goes in hand with, designing product and making sure the product that, is in these beautiful institutional residential spaces that you're developing sort of all like flow and has a holistic feel. So, you as a firm have a very long record of designing product, everything from hardware to lighting and really beyond. So can you really describe the firm's history with product design and touch upon some of the things that you've done over the years?
Certainly. Just as Christian was saying before, as architects, we design all sorts of buildings at different scales, and we're very concerned about the small details and getting them right to make sure that, it impacts the overall design. And just as his, parents were approached by an architect, we too found that there were things missing in the market that we just needed time and again. And then, we'd have things made customer one-off, and then eventually opportunities presented themselves to us where we could partner with a manufacturer so that the next time we wanted to specify that, it was a ready-made product that we could just specify to our like and our taste and have it, customer semi-customized. But then the other benefit too, of course, is that it helps, get our name out to a wider market too, as having a ready-made product from a manufacturer means that other people get to see and own a bit of the Robert A.M. Stern design for their own homes, even if they can't, even if they're not, commissioning us to do a whole building, they can still have a part of Robert Stern aesthetic in their own homes.
Mm-hmm. And our office has always been interested in early 20th century precedent, and many of the more well-known designers in the Western tradition have kind of always had this connection to smaller scale objects and designing not only buildings, but say chairs, furniture, et cetera, et cetera. And so I think a lot of our interest in that was also kind of, inspired by this desire to kind of to touch everything within the lived experience, as designers, to really dig into that. We feel it gives us a lot more breadth and ability to kind of understand just what it means to even design a space.
Well, so with that, let's circle back to this new collection, Oasis. So what background can you share regarding the inspiration for that specific design?
Well, that's a great story.
Yeah. We love good stories.
So like most things, we always look towards precedent. Not that we're interested in copying, but we're looking to see what has worked in the past. Yeah. What is the basis of good design? And then how can we apply that for the here and now, for the contemporary? And in this case, we had first presented a whole range of different stylistic options to Rocky Mountain. The collection that we eventually went with was just one direction, but even within this one direction, there were a lot of different influences. Certainly there's a lot of modernism that you see in some of the pieces, but there's also a lot of like Art Nouveau, that sort of like supernatural, sort of organic, forms that stem from plants and flowers and things like that, as well as again going to the arts and crafts tradition, where and this sort of ties into like the Rocky Mountains whole methodology, the way that they do sand casting and everything. So all these different things were sort of like melding in our brains, and almost all the pieces have an organic fluidness to them. But in some cases, there are also these little geometric slices off the organic forms that bring a whole sort of different quality to it. So that's a little bit more modern. We were looking at some Brancusi pieces, like Bird in Flight, that has that attenuated sort of organic shape, but there's sharp edges at the top and the bottom. We were looking at some jewelry. Jewelry is obviously a very personal item. And one of the things about jewelry is, the way that it catches the light and reflects, gives you that little bit of sparkle. So one of the things we were very conscious of in creating the forms was, again, it was the way the light would play across both the sinuous forms as well as some of those little angled slices that we put in to some of the pieces.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. I think that's the right story. I mean, it really was this idea of starting with some precedents that were related to a couple of mid-century pieces, and in the case of this this collection, and kind of developing that even further by looking at the jewelry and looking at things that are even smaller scale. I mean, here, for example, we have a couple of the pieces that the Rocky Mountain has been sending us, and so these kinds of cuts or facets that really reflect the light was something from a very early early stage we were really interested in bringing throughout the whole collection.
I like the connection that you guys made between like hardware and jewelry, because I think a lot of times designers think of the hardware as sort of the jewelry of an interior space. I mean, you're sort of dressing it up and it, you know, it could add, you know, and depending on what you wear, right, with your outfit can really change the dynamic of the style. And the same, I think, with an interior space. But Christian, I kind of want to bring you back into the conversation because, you know, something that you can, you know, obviously is just as important between jewelry and hardware is the craftsmanship. And I know that, you know, all of your products are handcrafted by a dedicated team of artisans. So ultimately, how many hands touch an individual piece through the entirety of the manufacturing process?
Boy, quite a number. And again, even prior to producing the actual product, there's a whole, you know, process that happens up front because, you know, hardware is not quite as straightforward as everybody might imagine it could be. You know, there's a lot of little innuendos here and there. And so just getting the information, you know, from the job site to us, say, okay, here's all the handings and this and that and the other. There's so many details going into it up front is my point. Then beyond that, once we start the manufacturing process, man, you know, any given product, I mean, we're touching 40 to 50 individual different hands, you know, and it's, and that begins from, you know, say a custom mold if we're hand carving a piece to create the master, building the molds. Once the production molds are ready to rock and roll, then we're at the point of, you know, hand packing the sand and we're doing the lost wax casting. Once the castings are done, you know, chopping the parts off of the tree, sandblasting the parts to blast all the sand or ceramic coating that's left on the parts, and then on through the process, which goes to, you know, hand grinding, going through a tumbling vibratory process that we do, being handheld into some of our CNC equipment, which we're machining the product. And then all the way through the finishing process, which is, you know, hand brushed in a lot of cases, hand polished in a lot of cases, hand waxed for final finish, hand patinaed prior to the wax, and then through the assembly process. So again, each individual piece has its own unique little course it takes through our facility, but at the end of the day, it can be up to 50 different hands.
It's amazing. Well, actually, Thomas, I want to circle back to something you kind of mentioned when you held up the door handle and you were sort of talking about the little facets, and kind of want to have you guys maybe elaborate on some of the other unique features of the collection that someone should expect to see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I can kind of lead with that here. I mean, I think that the first way to think about it is to kind of expect the unexpected. We love the idea that you might touch one of the pieces in the collection and just sort of you might touch one of these facets and just all of a sudden your hand will say to yourself like, oh wait, what is this piece? You know, I expected a completely flat or a round edge, and instead I can feel this facet. So that sensibility kind of carries through the rest of the collection. I mean, we looked at the back plates, for example, the rectangular back plates in the collection, and you know they're concave, and so they're going to reflect the light differently than just a flat back plate. We also we tried to tailor the shapes to kind of have a relationship with one another. So there's an egg-shaped back plate that you know is related to some of the rounder, more organic shapes in the collection. And then I think, aside from the whole kind of modernist approach or the idea of facets and everything, overall there was an interest in fluidity on the part of our team, and you know that really I think inspired a lot of dialogue with Rocky Mountain. There's the pieces that are kind of like drawn out, and you know they're made thinner or they kind of expand in size. You know, like we're really looking at some of the cabinet pulls, you know, and really interested in like the sinuous form, the idea of metal kind of moving, and you know, and that's the kind of natural, the natural form and the natural shape that really inspired us, and in a way comes out of that jewelry process. Yeah.
I have to say, I love the scale. It's just like, you know, Rocky Mountain hardware. And, Ramsa, you both kind of like straddle everything from the residential side to the commercial side of things to be able to accommodate, it's something I said earlier, if not all, at least most, project needs, and that's really something that the Oasis collection really offers. Well, I first can't wait to experience the collection for myself. And I'm excited, if perhaps there was another Ramsa collection in the foreseeable future as well. Hopefully, I guess we'll have to wait and see. But Christian, Lawrence, Thomas, I would love to say thank you so much for your time and your insight today. It sounds like it was a really amazing collaboration between Rocky Mountain Hardware and Robert A.M. Stern Architects. And of course, to our lovely audience, please make sure to check out the Rocky Mountain Hardware to learn more about the Oasis collection. Thank you guys, appreciate it. Hello, I'm Helene Oberman, Managing Director of Interior Design Magazine, and I'd like to welcome you to Product Live. This is our series that delves into the products and trends, grabbing the industry, and in real time, looking at the minds behind the design. For more than 65 years, Andreu World has been fostering a symbiotic relationship with wood. They have learned everything about this noble material, cultivating its growth in their sustainable forest, nurturing it throughout their custody, and ultimately manufacturing it with the utmost expertise and craftsmanship into their product designs. They respect and make use of every last single fiber of wood harvested, and it's with the same care that they have made a dedicated commitment to protecting the environment. With me today to discuss the brand's pledge to live in balance with the environment through their use of wood is Jesus Llinares, CEO of Andreu World. Bienvenidos, Jesus.
Thank you very much, Helena. Thank you very much, Interior Design.
So we're going to be discussing really a topic that I know is very near and dear to the brand, and that is wood, a material that is in the very DNA of Andreu World. So your latest publication of stories is really focused on this material. So why did you feel it important, especially right now at this moment of time, to engage the design community about the importance of wood?
Wood for us is everything. The origin of the company 65 years ago is because of that. For us, it was the first technology that the company started working with. Is a way to express a lot of things. From one side, express the culture of our region. No? We are from Valencia, it's in the east of Spain, it's in the Mediterranean area. The wood has been part of our culture since 1,000 years, and the craftsmanship and everything related with working with the wood, it's something that it's an heritage of our know-how, of our history, of our culture. The wood that we use is hardwood. That means wood that takes like 200 years to grow the tree, and then is important for us to have the best work and the best use of this material because it's kind of luxury for us.
So your publication stories, which I know that you come out with, is broken up into 12 different chapters. And I thought today it would be really good to highlight sort of 4 of them during our discussion about wood. And it just so happens the first one is life. So you've really found a correlation between life, wood, and our carbon footprint. So can you tell us more about this relationship and its impact on your manufacturing process?
Clearly, the importance of the carbon footprint now there is no discussion. No? Everybody is talking now about the reduction of the consumption of energy, the importance of the circularity in the use of the material, and when you generate a new design, and then life and wood are totally related. No? from one side, we are using wood, and the forest by itself is negative in the carbon footprint, and the wood is neutral for the carbon footprint. Because of that, all of our processes make us a neutral company from the meaning of use of energy or the transformation of the materials. Then life and wood are synonymous, and for us this is the more important thing. And obviously, what we try to do is to reapply that to the rest of the materials, of the technologies that we are using in our catalog, in our offer.
And really, actually, as you're designing all of your products, I mean, you're really taking into consideration how each of your individual pieces, as you're introducing them into the market, may ultimately impact the environment.
We have a commitment and a total engagement with the concept of circular economy. Our idea is not fulfill the 2030, but advance the 2030 to 2025.
Well, you know, to achieve this goal, so just to be clear to our audience, so by 2025, I mean, as a company, Andreu World wants to achieve, you know, carbon neutral footprint and circular economy for all of the products that you're producing, wood or not. But, you know, certainly you can't do this alone. And, you know, you have enlisted some amazing help from design luminaries, and you always have had, I should say, really great design collaborators, you know, to work alongside your master crafts people. So you've just begun working with Philippe Stark of all people, and I think it's your first time working with him, who has just launched several new designs with Andreu World. So I thought it might be nice. Let's start with one of them, the Forest Club, which I just happened to have seen at NeoCon, which is beautiful in person. But it's interesting because you're actually using a joint that has been in use since the Middle Ages, but really tell us more about the design of the Forest Club.
Yes, really, Forest Club has been one of the first pieces that we developed, and we worked together with Philippe Stark. I should tell you that Philippe Stark has been a more than a positive surprise for us, in the meaning of not only the creativity, but the leadership, obviously trying to do the most sustainable use of all the elements and all the materials that are part of the design. And Forest particularly include, in addition to the material that is FSC 100% wood, is the use of the clavet. The clavet is something that for us it's a good addition. It's a kind of connecting system in order to assemble or disassemble this sofa in a second life, or at the end of the life of the product, and helping to this future use that you can have reupholstering, or could be just finishing, going to the dust of this product. And then the clavet is the good thing is that he's recovering with this design an element that was used 500 years ago in the mid-century as a system to join and to put together different parts in furniture, in construction. These capabilities in this design.
So, and I think it's one of those things where obviously you almost need to see it in person to really understand. But, you know, moving on, because, you know, thinking about sort of this idea of, you know, you're talking about this craftsmanship, but, you know, another chapter within stories is the future. So, you know, thinking about the future, you know, one may think that like plastics is the material of the future, but you actually see wood and really the potential surrounding the technology that has been built up to work with it as sort of the future thinking. So in this way, you know, would you say that wood is not just really about the handicraft, as you would see maybe in the Forest Club, but also about computers and technology and really careful consumption?
Yes, obviously the future it's a combination of everything, no? It's a combination of the new materials and the new techniques, but at the same time the knowledge, no? I think for us this is the main purpose. Now we try to have the best technicians, the best people, the best engineers working with us we try to collect the know-how that we have, not only into the company, but outside of the company. We learn sometimes from artisans. We see that sometimes in some countries, particularly in companies that we know closely in the last 50 years, they are sometimes losing this kind of know-how. And for us, this is, as I mentioned before, kind of luxury, not only the material, the wood, but all the how you treat the material, how you work with the material. Then this is for us a critical, important objective, a relevant strategic objective. And the second thing is try to add the maximum technology. That means we obviously use the CNC machine and all the automatic processes that we can, but combining craftsmanship with ultravision, with latest technology. It always has been a combination of both, which make Andreu World known.
Well, I was going to say, I think a really good example of this sort of dichotomy is Philippe Starck's solo chair. So really, how are you able to combine the artist's hand that you're known for as a brand with more technological processes in the design of this chair?
Solo chair it's a good example. In that case, this is a more solid wood. It's not plywood like forest. Ash is the wood that we are using in that case, and it's kind of a sculptural shape. What you see with the legs, but mainly with the arms. But at the same time, it's good for health. It's good for economy. It's good for comfort, and gives character to the piece. In that case, obviously, the combination of first of all of the creativity and from the design, and afterwards the craftsmanship of our artisans working with initial prototypes.
I'd love to talk about one of your longtime collaborators, who's Pier Giorgio Casaniga, and he just launched the Laseo Chair. So how does something like the Laseo really embody that tradition of woodworking that is, the brand is known for?
No, Laseo, it's a beautiful piece because realistically, we did it in one piece, all the arms and all the back rest. Few examples you can have in the world, in the design world, by doing this in only one piece. The good thing of that means we are maintaining the grain of the wood, and this is transmitting the maximum resistance to this piece. And at the same time, the beauty of have the simplicity of only one single piece with this kind of shape that Giorgio generates with Laseo. That is a new design that became classic since the first moment because of the shape and the design. But having this continuity and not joints is something that make it unique.
And I think that, like you were saying, I mean, I know wood is like in your DNA, but it seems to also be obviously in Pier Giorgio's, and it comes across in this very elegant classic chair. I want to sort of touch on, because I know we've talked about the fact that, as a company, you're focused on becoming, carbon neutral, your circular economy of the use of wood, the fact that you were the first to be 100% FSC certified, something that may, our audience and designers may not be as aware of is that the fact that all your pieces are guaranteed, and like what type of actual commitment does this mean for the company?
You know what, for us, we always has been working to have a durable design in the meaning of contemporary enough to resist the pass of the time in any place. On the other hand, the resistance is part of this durability. It's important. Then our company, we offer since the 70s the possibility to reuse, to reutilize, to repaint or reupholster our product. We offer this service since the 70s because we believe in a product that can be inherited. That means a product that can pass the time successfully and stay a long period of time in the places. And because of that, we try to deliver the best and the maximum quality. In that case, our commitment is minimum 10 years warranty in all the products anywhere in the world. We are realistically offering a service of any kind of repair. This is something that we offer since the beginning, because for us this is synonymous of authentic sustainability.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. And there should be a timelessness anyways to the design, so that whether it was in the 70s when you first sort of launched this guaranteed program or to now, it is important. And I think your new introductions really capture this sort of elegant timelessness. And another piece that I wanted to touch on was the Laseo Chair. And, you know, how was the collaboration between Andreu World and Rodolfo Dordoni like in the design of the Laseo Chair?
Rodolfo Dordoni is a well-known architect, mainly in Europe probably. He offers solutions with upholstered arms or wooden arms. The back you can combine with the same fabric than the front, or a different fabric in the back with two basic colors. Then this give us the chance, or the designer the chance to generate a very fresh proposal using wood. Wood sometimes depends on the combination of colors and materials and designs. It's a classic by itself material, but in that case, Rodolfo Dordoni created a modern piece with a fresh language and very propositive, inspirative in the meaning of you can generate many different views of it. So it depends on the combination of the fabrics or colors that you select. And this is a chair, armchair, and a beautiful lounge, very comfortable, who he designed it for us.
Rodolfo, you know, really understands the market and understands that designers like to customize. So the fact that he designed a chair that any designer that's specifying it could put their hand on it and make it their own. So it's great to have those options. But Jesus, I actually have to say that I know we could continue on for much longer with our conversation, but I would love to say muchas gracias for your time and your insight really into the sustainable mission set by Andreu World. And of course, to our lovely audience out there, I would like to ask you to please make sure to check out the Andreu World website to learn more about their sustainability practices and of course, their new product introductions. Adios.
Thank you very much.